At South 13th and Market, watch the intersection as a machine for negotiation. Garrett Morgan patented a 3-position traffic signal in 1923, adding an intermediate warning position to the familiar stop-and-go system. The design responded to a real urban problem: cars and street traffic were moving faster than people could safely coordinate. Morgan was born in Kentucky, became a successful Cleveland businessman, and also invented the smoke hood that influenced later respiratory protection. His traffic signal is important because it is not a glamorous object. It is an intervention in timing. The yellow or caution phase creates a pause in which drivers and pedestrians can anticipate one another. Invention here means designing behavior into infrastructure. Be careful with the claim that Morgan invented the first traffic light; earlier signals existed. His contribution was a particular 3-position design that improved communication and safety. Look at the modern signal and imagine how much city life depends on small instructions repeated millions of times. Morgan's work also challenges the stereotype that black invention belongs only to isolated gadgets. He designed systems for public life, sold products, secured patents, and built a business in a society that restricted black access to capital and recognition. The route begins here because safety is a form of care. From this corner, continue to the African American Museum, where individual inventions become part of a larger history of black technical creativity. The African American Museum in Philadelphia is the memory stop for this route. A Black Inventors Hall of Fame exhibit does more than display names. It places invention inside the history of slavery, emancipation, migration, education, labor, and unequal access to patents and capital. Museums are technologies of memory. They collect, authenticate, arrange, interpret, and make knowledge available to the public. That work matters because inventors can disappear from everyday awareness once their designs become ordinary. Garrett Morgan's signal becomes a street corner, Lewis Latimer's filament becomes a light, Charles Drew's blood plasma system becomes medical infrastructure. The museum reconnects the object to the person and to the conditions under which the work was done. Look for the difference between celebrating an inventor and understanding an inventor. Celebration can produce a list of firsts. History asks who funded the work, who received credit, who benefited, and what barriers shaped the path. A museum can also correct the idea that invention is only a solitary flash of genius. Many breakthroughs involve drafting, testing, manufacturing, organizing, and preserving. End this stop by naming the systems represented in the route: transportation, light, medicine, domestic design, rail communication, industrial processing, refrigeration, and cultural memory. From here, move to the Lewis Latimer exhibit, where technical drawing and material refinement make the hidden labor of illumination visible. Lewis Latimer was born in 1848 to parents who had escaped slavery, learned drafting after serving in the Union Navy, and became an important technical illustrator and inventor. The route identifies an 1881 carbon filament patent. Latimer's work helped improve the durability and practicality of electric lighting, and his drawings helped translate complex inventions into forms engineers and manufacturers could use. That is the key lesson here: invention is often refinement. Public memory tends to celebrate the light bulb as if one person switched on the modern world, but electrification required materials science, patent work, wiring, manufacturing, and systems for distribution. Latimer worked with major figures and companies in that expanding industry, while black technical professionals were often denied equal recognition. Look at the filament as a problem of fragility. A filament must glow without breaking, and its success depends on precise material choices and manufacturing conditions. Latimer's story makes the invisible visible: drafting, testing, and disciplined improvement. It also complicates the idea of a patent as proof of isolated originality. Patents sit inside networks of employers, collaborators, prior art, and legal disputes. From light, continue to Dr. Charles Drew's blood bank history, where technical innovation becomes a system for preserving life. Dr. Charles Drew transformed blood banking through research on the separation, preservation, and transport of blood plasma. In the late 1930s and early 1940s, His work helped make large-scale plasma programs possible, including Britain's wartime blood plasma effort. Drew's achievement was not simply discovering a fact about blood. It was designing a reliable system: collection, testing, separation, storage, transport, and transfusion. That is why this stop is about infrastructure. Medical breakthroughs only save lives when institutions can deliver them safely and at the right time. Drew later became the first black chair of surgery at Howard University and trained generations of physicians. His career also exposes the racism built into American medicine. The military separated blood by race during World War II despite the scientific evidence that blood type, not race, determines compatibility. Drew resigned from the American Red Cross's wartime program after objecting to that policy. Do not repeat the myth that he died because a segregated hospital refused his blood. Historians have found no evidence for that story. His real legacy is more powerful: scientific rigor joined to ethical resistance. At this location, connect storage technology to questions of access. Who receives care, whose research is funded, and which rules are treated as scientific when they are actually political? From here, continue to Sarah E. Good, whose folding cabinet bed brings invention into the constrained spaces of everyday urban life. Sarah E. Good received a patent in 1885 for a folding cabinet bed, making her one of the earliest known black women in the United States to receive a patent. Good operated a furniture business in Chicago with her husband, Archibald, and designed for a practical urban problem: how to make a small room serve more than one purpose. Her cabinet bed could function as furniture by day and a sleeping space by night, with compartments that helped keep the structure organized. The invention is a reminder that technical creativity lives in domestic interiors as well as factories and laboratories. Good's design responded to the realities of crowded housing, limited floor space, and the need to combine work, rest, storage, and family life. Be cautious with the roots label of Sarah Good's Philadelphia house. Her documented business and patent history are centered in Chicago, so treat this address as an interpretive marker rather than proof she lived here. That distinction does not weaken the story. It strengthens it by showing how easily local tours can attach a national inventor to a place without evidence. Read the design itself: hinges, folding surfaces, balance, and transformation. From here, continue to Granville T. Woods, whose inventions made railway communication safer and more coordinated. Granville T. Woods was a 19th-century electrical and mechanical inventor whose work addressed communication and safety on railways. He developed railway telegraph systems that allowed moving trains and trackside stations to exchange information, and he patented devices related to electrical control and rail signaling. The nickname Black Edison captures his prolific reputation, but it can also flatten his individual work into a comparison with a more famous white inventor. Woods deserves to be understood on his own terms. Railway systems depend on coordination across distance. Signals must be legible, timing must be reliable, and engineers must know where a train is before the next movement becomes dangerous. Woods' inventions made communication part of the infrastructure of mobility. The route identifies this North Broad and Gira location as a railway site, but a precise surviving Woods installation should be verified rather than assumed. Use the intersection to imagine the problem he addressed: vehicles moving faster than human messengers could travel, with lives depending on information arriving in time. His story also includes patent disputes and the difficulty black inventors faced when larger companies had more money and legal power. The lesson is not only that Woods invented. It is that invention required defending ownership and finding ways to bring ideas into industrial use. From here, continue to Norbert Rillieux, whose engineering redesigned the hidden process of sugar refining. Norbert Rillieux was born in New Orleans in 1806 and became a pioneering engineer whose multiple effect evaporator transformed sugar refining. His system used steam more efficiently to remove water from sugarcane juice, improving both output and working conditions compared with older, dangerous methods. Rillieux studied engineering in France and is associated with the University of Pennsylvania, and the roots claim that he was an early black student there. Because 19th century enrollment records and definitions of student status can be complicated, present that as a documented research question rather than an unqualified first. The engineering itself is clear. By arranging evaporation in stages, Riliou reused heat instead of repeatedly boiling liquid in open kettles. The invention reduced fuel waste and made refining more controlled. It also shows how industrial technology can carry moral consequences. Sugar production was tied to slavery and racial capitalism, so a more efficient process could improve safety while still serving an economy built on coerced labor. Do not tell the story as pure progress. Ask who benefited, who worked in the mills, and whether efficiency changed the power relations around production. Riliou's contribution belongs to the history of systems people rarely see: heat, pressure, sequence, and flow. From here, follow the route to Frederick McKinley Jones, whose refrigeration technology changed what could travel across distance. Frederick McKinley Jones was a self-taught engineer and inventor whose portable refrigeration units made refrigerated transport practical for trucks, trains, and ships. His technology helped create the modern cold chain, allowing food, medicine, and other perishables to travel farther without spoiling. Jones co-founded Thermo King with Joseph Numero, and their systems changed logistics during and after World War II. The route identifies a Philadelphia address, but Jones's documented life and industrial work was centered elsewhere, so treat this as a thematic route marker rather than a confirmed residence or invention site. The engineering lesson is still local to every journey. A refrigerated vehicle is a moving environment. Compressors, insulation, temperature control, and power must work together while the vehicle travels over imperfect roads. That reliability changes markets and public health. It affects what hospitals can stock, what farms can sell, and what families can buy. Jones's story also widens the definition of invention. He did not simply create a device, he helped build an industry and a chain of maintenance, manufacturing, distribution, and trust. Compare his work with Charles Drew's plasma systems. Both make time and temperature manageable so something valuable can reach people before it becomes unusable. End by asking what modern conveniences hide the most engineering. The route's answer is almost everything: signals, light, blood, furniture, railways, sugar, refrigeration, and the museum that preserves their stories.